And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, hello to everyone. Yes, we are back. It is the Weighing In podcast with my man, the Punk, Josh Thompson, and me, John McCarthy, setting up for a great weekend of fights. We got a lot to talk about. Both MMA, even boxing, even celebrity boxing. There's all kinds of things going on. A lot to talk about. What's happening, my brother?
The word celebrity is such a stretch these days.
Ooh, isn't it, though?
It's one of those things. It's one of those things. Oh, man. So much going on. I'm so pumped for today. But, John, first, there's things we have to talk about. Some strictly business is what we got to get down to today.
Strictly business.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to vote down below, okay, in the comment section because I read them and no one else does. I want to know from you guys right now, which hat is the best?
Oh, there you go.
Bam.
Bam.
This has the flex fit in the back right there. It's got the trucker cap, that trucker cap, flex fit in the back. Fits the head nicely. This is good for me. John had a little bit of a hard time when he got his sample in the mail. And it didn't really fit. It looked like a big old nipple on his head, from what I understand. So Miss McCarthy is rocking that hat.
That's my wife.
Miss McCarthy is rocking that hat. But that is the hat that I like. Now, I'm not opposed to this one, John. Okay, but it has a little weird back to it like this. And I like the logo on the front.
You're supposed to tuck that in, man. You're supposed to tuck that into the side thing.
I got it. It's got the little frayed ends, you know, the old school, like vintage. Yeah,
like you actually wore it before.
Yeah, so it's kind of nice. It reminds me of like the old school like Giants and like Dodgers hats from like the Brooklyn Dodgers, right? Was it Brooklyn Dodgers?
It was Brooklyn Dodgers.
Brooklyn Dodgers, okay. Yeah, the old school hats, they had like the little frayed ends and stuff. Kind of looks good. I kind of don't mind this one. Yeah, it's been around a while. I like that one as well. Now, this is where we get into Big John's head, okay? Now, I love this color. I love this color, but look at how this thing fits. That thing is enormous on my little tiny head. Now, John's head, it may be a little bit different, but I love this color. I love the way the logo pops off the gray. I love it, but I got to figure out a different way to make this color in a smaller size head. I don't know how to do that. But then there's this one, but this is basically the same thing, except it's on a black hat.
That's the one that fits me.
I actually prefer the gray. They're the same exact hat, just different colors. I like the gray one better, but black, you know, John wears black. Doesn't matter where he goes, what he's doing. It's black or a very dark gray, which is also black, but it's the same. So you guys
makes
down
life
below,
easy. No decisions to be made.
There is what it looks like, okay, on Thompson's head. Now on Big John's, it looks a little bit different, I'm assuming. But this is what it looks like. It's a little, you know, it's a little big off top. So I like the style of hat. I just wish it came in a little bit smaller size in terms of the top part. But you guys decide down below. But I love the gray, and I love this trucker flex fit at the end. This one here fits me perfectly, nice and cut my head. You know who's going to love the fact that I'm going to wear a hat like this? John Norton. John Norton's going to love the fact because I always rock these type of hats. But what I do is I rock them like this as I'm walking around, and it fucking drives him crazy. Absolutely nuts. Like, would you please bend that bill? Will you please get it down on your head? And so now that's the deal. All right, guys. Well, hey, down below, vote on it. You guys have the flex fit. You guys got the gray one. The gray and the black are the same. And you got the old vintage one that's here as well with the frayed end. So give a little vote down below. Which hat would you guys like to rock that we're going to put up on our store for you guys to purchase? All right, now we're done talking about business, John. Let's get down to some nitty-gritty. Let's get down to some fights. What are you thinking here, buddy? What are you thinking?
About time the UFC going to Paris for the very first time.
No.
And having yes.
No, they've gone before.
Negative.
I'm going to challenge you on this.
Okay, challenge me on it.
They've been. Dave,
really?
Can you look this up? Yeah, they've been.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe they have been.
Yes.
All right. Now, I'm gonna have a. Whoop. They may not have been, and it was UFC Fight Pass. There was a show there that did.
Oh yeah, that doesn't count.
I think they've been. I know. That's not them. That's not them. But I think that they have been.
This is the first time in Paris.
Wow.
For the UFC. Well, France. Yeah.
Which
is great.
First time in France.
First time in France. They did have the show that Bellator had, which was the first big show, I guess, in Paris. There was a show the night before that was on Fight Pass that had nothing to do with UFC.
Yeah.
You're right about that. But I don't see. Announced his first ever France event.
Very nice.
Boom.
Very nice.
Okay.
All right. Well, I stand corrected,
I lucked
ladies
out.
and gentlemen. It's very rare that I am wrong, so I want to make sure that I admit it to everybody. See, I'm a good man. I admit when I am wrong, which is very rare for me. So I'm going to go ahead and step aside on this. Let John talk about this. This is a big deal, though. This is a big deal for fighters.
This is a huge deal.
For French fighters to be like, hey, I can finally fight in my home country. That's amazing.
For Cyril Gane, this is, come on. You know, you are a professional athlete. You spend all this time training, and you can't even perform in where you live, in your hometown, in your home country. That's crazy. Now, he can put on a show, have everyone come out and see him. This is awesome. I think it's smart for the UFC to have Cyril as the headliner of the show. You know, heavyweights sell. He is a technically dynamite, heavyweight fighter. He's got, the full package. He does a lot of spinning attacks. He does a lot of great things. He's difficult to hit, but he's fighting the right kind of person. If you're thinking about the matchup wise, I love the matchup that they have here because Tuivasa is just fun. He's a brawler. He's not the greatest technician, let's say, as far as, his style, but he imposes his will and his style on his opponents and sometimes suck them in. He sucks them right into that brawl, which is where he's effective. Can he do that against Cyril Gane? We're going to find out. I think Cyril's a little too technical possibly, but if, anyone can, pull someone into a brawl, it would be Tai Tuivasa, and he's always looking to get the shoey done at the end. So we'll see.
This lets you know how much the UFC loves Gane. Is they are having him headline in the first event ever in France. And now I know they've got a lot of other good fighters, but he is somebody that they are looking as to be the future. What is he, 25, 26 years old? He's young, isn't he?
Hey, he's young.
Old.
I don't think he's
32.
32.
Oh, he's 32. Jeez,
I was going to say, I thought he was 30.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
Josh Thompson is off today. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry. My apologies.
Taylor, the tape's going to suck for you.
Wow, Taylor tape later. On our 5 rounds main event, which we're going to film later and drop on Wednesday morning. You guys make sure you guys check that out. Sorry, Thursday morning. There you go again. See, Dave? See? But this is he's extremely talented. He's got the footwork. He's got the speed. He's got the creativity on the feet. He can also sprawl and brawl. He's been known to get a takedown here and there. He's a phenomenal fighter. So the fact is that this is a huge deal, not just for him, but for every French fighter to be able to fight in their hometown. I've been blessed to actually fight in my home city in San Jose countless times. And after you get past that very first one, which that could be a problem, John.
Yeah.
Now,
it can make a difference.
Let me just tell you guys, fighting in your home city or in your home, I don't know about country-wise in terms of, I've always been able to fight here in my own country, but fighting in your home city, it's got to be like the first time ever having a French, a UFC in Paris for them or in France for them, because they're going to have so many family, friends, everyone coming out of the woodwork. People that they
Everybody
haven't talked
wanting
to
tickets.
since.
Everyone wanting to go.
Everyone wants tickets. Everyone wants a discount. Everyone wants to know where the after party is. Everyone wants to know where do I go for the weigh-ins. Everyone wants to know all of those things. Look, when Bellator went there, they sold out and they sold out quickly. I can imagine this thing sold out extremely fast. And then on top of that, it's probably standing room only in the hallways. I mean, I'm just being honest. This is a big, big deal. And to think that he's not going to be feeling some sort of pressure. You think fighting for the title was a lot of pressure? Try fighting with your family, your friends you haven't talked to in 5, 6, 8, 10 years. Now are all coming to watch you, hitting you up through social media, hitting you up through your phone calls, your text messages, everything. They're coming out of the woodwork and they can be a distraction. So I hope this last week and this week that he's in right now, that he's just got his phone turned off, or he's got a burner phone for his loved ones only, the ones that he truly. That's really what it came down to after my first fight. I fought in San Jose. After that first fight, I went and got a burner phone. And I used the burner phone the week of the fight and turned my own phone off. And just I only had certain people had that number. It was only about 3 or 4 people that had that number. And if you want to get a hold of me, you had to be able to get a hold of them. If you didn't have their number, you couldn't get a hold of me. This is how it worked. And so it was best for me. And then it worked out perfectly. So I'm hoping for him that he takes this experience and absorbs it all, but not the negative side, which is everyone coming out of the woodwork, just trying to bother him, asking for such petty things. You know, like I said, where's the after party? Where's the weigh-ins? Look it up, man. Look it up. You know, look it up. Look,
the information's
on
out
social
there.
media.
Yeah.
Those could be some of the biggest downfalls for some fighters when they fight in their own town. And it could be such a distraction, and it shouldn't be. Your family and your friends should understand that the most. So I'm hoping, that he ends up coming out of a great performance. And Tuivasa is a stud. He's got good hips, good at stuff and takedowns. He has been known to be able to be pressed against the fence, and held there for a little bit. I don't know if Gane's going to do that. I could see him threatening that a little bit if he does get in trouble, using his athleticism to press Tuivasa against the fence, control him there. I don't see him really trying to shoot a takedown, maybe threaten it a little bit, but then not really trying to really work too hard for it. But this could be one of those shocker fights that could end up being a really good fight. This show is brought to you by mybookie.ag. Use our promo code WayneIn. They're going to give you a little extra spending cash for that first initial deposit. Also, you only have to bet your winnings one time, and you can pull it out after that. That's almost unheard of, John. In almost every online gambling site, you have to bet it multiple times before you can actually get your money back, but not at mybookie.ag. Use our promo code WayneIn. That little QR code right there will take you over to our site there at mybookie.ag using that promo code. Hopefully you guys can win some money this weekend with Tuivasa versus Ciryl Gane. It's going to be a great fight. Check out those odds at mybookie.ag.
I could see Gane absolutely shooting a takedown, because if you're going to look and say where is Ty the best, it's brawling on the feet.
Yeah,
it's definitely not if he's on the ground, and he's definitely not dangerous off his back. And so if you're in the top position on him, you've taken away most of his ability to hurt you. So I could see where Gane would look and go, I might want to try to take him down. That would be a good plan for this fight.
But he's not more of a threat than Francis Ngannou. And Ciryl Gane wasn't really attempting takedowns on Ngannou. Threw 1 or 2 out there, but the rest of the time was stick and move, really trying to utilize that position on the speed. His athleticism and his footwork is something you very rarely see in a heavyweight.
He's the thing that separates Ciryl Gane in the heavyweight division is he's very difficult to hit, very difficult to touch. And if you can have all the power in the world, if you can't touch him,
yeah,
that's a tough road, for you to hoe. So I do think that Ty is going to have those times when he's going to be throwing and there's going to be a lot of wind moving, but he's not going to be touching, because Gane is it's tough to get the timing. It's tough to get the distance on him and to understand exactly how well he moves his feet, because he doesn't lean. He doesn't do the lean backs. He moves his feet, which moves him out of range and then back into range quickly. So he's good. He's just a good fighter, good solid fighter overall. Like I said, technically, if you're going to look at the two, Ciryl Gane's the more technical fighter. But like I said, Tai Tuivasa is a brawler, and he's a gamer, and he's going to go in there to fight. He's going to go in there he has fun now. I think he's gotten so much better as far as understanding how to fight. I think in the beginning, tough guy, but didn't really understand how to fight. He understands how to fight now. He's got it down, and he knows how to bring people into his world and make them fight his fight. It's another thing to make Ciryl Gane do that.
Well, John, you just talked about his fight. Well, let's explain to everyone what his fight is. His fight, if he wants to win this fight, is in a phone booth.
Oh, yeah.
He can't be on the outside getting stuck. He can't be out there getting jabbed to death. He can't be out there getting kicked to death. He's going to have to check those kicks and counter, and then get on the inside and keep his
Make it ugly. The uppercuts that he likes to throw.
He's got to keep his head in good posture. He can't afford to dip his head, get his head shoved down, and get taken down or being stuck on bottom.
Yeah.
Look, heavyweights off their back are not the greatest. You have occasional guys that are good off their back. Tom Aspinall's good off his back. I think Cyril Gane's good at getting up off of his back because of his athleticism. Certain guys are not great off their back in the heavyweight division. Some have some exceptions. Tuivasa is not one of those exceptions. He hits his back. He's not really he's not going to be able to really get up against someone who is faster in mobility and getting around his body, sitting him back to his hip, keeping his chest pressure on top of him. But Tuivasa's got to make sure he's countering the leg kicks so he doesn't he doesn't allow Gane to get comfortable throwing the leg kicks, and he's got to make sure that when he does slide in and land one, he's got to try to land the 2 and the 3. Right away. He can't afford just to keep lunging in for just one only. Because I don't think one's going to be quite enough. I know he's got power. I don't think one's going to be quite enough to get him out of there. It's going to have to be done in a combination because what Gane does, because of the movement, he doesn't really take direct shots. Like you said, he's very hard to hit. So he's not taking the direct shot. Unless he gets clipped directly, anyone can go out. But he's good at rolling with the punch. He's good with moving off that punching. So Tuivasa can't afford just to think that he's going to throw one shot and the fight's going to be over. He's going to have to land in a combination. Uppercut, tight left hook, tight overhand rights, whatever it is, but he's going to have to fight him in a phone booth if he wants to get it done.
Yeah, I agree with you. But it is an interesting fight. And for Cyril Gane, I think, being able to headline in his country, this is going to be a special night for him as far as just how the whole thing is. But it could be, as you pointed out, that might be the thing that throws it over the top, and the pressure actually builds to the point where it's hard for him to handle the whole thing.
Yeah. All right, next fight.
Robert Whittaker against Marvin Vettori in the middleweight. I look at this, it's a great matchup, but as I look at it, and I love Marvin Vettori, and I love how he does, I don't see him having as many options in winning this fight as Robert Whittaker does. Just being honest with it, Robert Whittaker, he hasn't been able to beat Israel Adesanya, and only one guy has, and no one in the middleweight division. So, look, Robert Whittaker is a stud. Marvin Vettori is a stud. They do things differently, though, and I do believe the speed lies with Robert Whittaker. Speed is usually the direction that I will go to when I look at a fighter and say, who has the advantage? The guy that is the faster fighter. And I think overall, Robert Whittaker is the faster fighter here.
I look at Robert Whittaker. He's a lot of talk right now of him going up to 205, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
He went from 170, was killing himself to get there, then up to 85, then going to 205. And what I liked, when I was reading what he was talking about going to 205 is that he wants to make sure that he is done in this division first. And beating Marvin Vettori right now would capitalize the fact that, look, there's no one else ahead of me, and I'm not getting an automatic rematch, or I'm not getting a rematch here soon against Izzy. So I might as well make my way to another weight class where I could potentially be the champ. I think he's got a great chance of being the champ in that weight class. It just depends on how he carries that weight, which is what he talked about, in that article that I read. I think Vettori is a tough fight for him, though. All those things, I agree with you, John, that Robert Whittaker is the faster fighter. He's tighter with his stand-up. He's got the cleaner combinations. He's more crafty on the feet. But if I'm going to say really what it comes down to is it's going to come down to the toughness of Vettori if he's going to get it done. He's got to pressure the takedowns. He's got to grind on him, hang on him, make him fight an uncomfortable fight. Robert Whittaker on his back foot is not the same fighter he is going forward, not the same fighter standing in the center of the cage and dictating the pace of the fight. He can sprawl and then prop you back up and land head kicks and combinations. But I think if Vettori does a little bit of how he fought Izzy by trying to press him to the fence, trying to control him that way, I think he'll have a little bit more success on getting Whittaker down. I don't know if he can hold him down.
I don't think he can hold him down is the difference.
But I think he'll be able to get him down. Now, how much will that slow Robert Whittaker down on the feet? And how much of an effect will that have during this duration? Now, I think it's only a 3-round fight.
3-round fight.
Correct? Yeah, 3-round fight. It's going to be very hard to take him down repeatedly in a 3-round fight and take Robert Whittaker down. So I'm going to have to go agree with you, and I'm leaning towards Robert Whittaker because of the combinations, the cleanness of that. He's been around the block and fought every who's who in the game. And Vettori's fought tough guys as well. Just doesn't have that in-cage, in-ring experience or, as Robert Whittaker does against the top guys. Now, he's fought the top guy, but not to the level of which Robert Whittaker has. Yeah.
Look, I go with Vettori I love everything about him. He's a gamer. He comes to fight. He doesn't back down from him. I love when he did the whole thing with the Paulo Costa thing and saying, I don't care what weight. And, went up an entire weight class, basically 20 pounds to have the fight. So he didn't lose the fight. Everything about him, I love. I just think that in this matchup, this is a hard stylistic matchup for the way he fights and the way Whittaker fights. This one's a tough one for him. I'm not saying he can't get it done. He can, but I wouldn't say he's the favorite in it.
Let me throw a wrench in this. Because Robert Whittaker's already talking about 205, is he already checked out of this division? That might be also something.
I don't think so. I think, you're looking, you're being honest about, your future, and you're looking at things and saying, look, I know that they're not going to throw me back in with Israel because, he's 2-0 on me right now. I had a good second fight with him, but it went to, him on the scorecards. It's going to be a while. So I'll take this fight and then I'll talk with my team and think about, maybe we will move up because at least I believe that I can contend there quicker than I'm going to be able to contend where I'm at here at middleweight. So I don't think it's a distraction. I think it's just a matter of him telling the truth.
I look at the guys in the 205-pound division, and there's not one that I look at that he can't beat. Not one. You're right. Like, I'm being honest, the speed and his ability to fight everywhere and to be very tough to hold down in a takedown situation makes him a hard matchup. No doubt about it. I agree with you. It's not that they can't beat him, but I think he can be competitive with all of them. Yeah, I'm not trying to say that he can't be beat. I'm simply saying that he can beat all of them. Now, when I look at certain fighters when they go up into weight class, I'm like, you're not gonna be able to beat this guy. You're not gonna be able to beat this guy. You might be able to beat this guy. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of, you're just being real with yourself. I think this fighter is gonna be able to beat this guy. And the reality is that there's not a guy in that 205-pound division now that John Jones is out of there that I'm like, Robert Whittaker could beat all of them. He could beat each one of them. Now, he could also lose to each one of them.
Yeah.
That's the fight game. That's the fight game. So, but I think it does make for some fun fights if you take Robert Whittaker up there. Because if I look at him and Yuri Prochaska, I look at him like, Robert's got the cleaner stand-up. He's got the ability to get the takedowns. And we saw that Yuri is not the best off of his back. And Robert's a smart fighter. Whittaker is able to take that fight anywhere he wants. I'm not saying it's an easy fight. By all means, it's not an easy fight. No. We know that. But I think he's got a chance to win. Yuri leaves himself out of position all the time. Robert Whittaker very rarely leaves himself out of position. So he's got to be brought out of that position. I don't think Yuri can do that to him as much as like Izzy did, because Izzy has the speed, the feints, the style of stand-up to do it. And I look at other guys, Anthony Smith, Santos, who else? The one that's coming back, Dominic Reyes. I look at those guys and I'm like, they're all beatable. They're all beatable.
I agree.
So it makes
You're right.
I would love to see Robert Whittaker go 205, and he's going to he talked about putting the weight on properly, making sure that that's where he's going to stay. So that makes for some fun action.
Yeah.
Next.
Oh, we got Alessio I'm going to say it, Sirico against Roman Kopylov. Good fight. Good fight. Good technique in both guys. Kopylov is the guy that is the real question mark here. It's how really good is he? We're going to find out. We're going to find out how he does in this fight. But it's an interesting matchup.
But you know who we know is good? Is Nasrat. Nasrat is good. Nasrat McDessie is good as well. He's on the downslide. We all can agree with. I think we can agree on that, John.
Yeah.
For his body,
he's on the backside of the career.
For his body frame, though, he's not a big guy for that weight class. He should be a 45-pounder. I don't know if he can make that weight class in terms of keeping his without losing.
He's stocky.
He is short and thick.
Yeah,
short and thick, explosive. Got some.
That's why he's called the Bull.
Spinning attacks. He's good, but Nasrat is, I think, a different level right now. He's a little bit. He's also younger. How old is Nasrat? 27?
I don't know, but the one
I've
thing
been off.
the one thing that I look at is if you're going to look at both fighters,
Mm-hmm.
John has taken more damage.
Absolutely.
Nasrat has still got a very good chin. He takes a big shot, and he delivers big shots. He likes guys that want to fight in the stand-up, and that's what he's got in Makdessi. Makdessi doesn't like to take the fight to the ground. No. He likes to be in the stand-up with it. So I look and go, this is the perfect fight for, Nasrat to come back and have a good, showing and, get a win against a guy who, look, he's going to be standing there and he's going to be banging and he can definitely hurt you. But this is the exact fight that Hasparat wants.
Yeah, I think Nasrat can bully him around. I think he'll be able to push him back on his back foot. I think he'll be able to bully him around. If he can do that, I think it's going to change how this fight is played out. Makdessi is going to have to use his speed, his lateral movement, which he normally does. It's nothing new to him. He's going to be able to stick and move. He's going to have to stay long with those kicks because Nasrat is long. He's long with the arms and the striking. He's got power. He's a gamer. He'll throw. He will wrestle a little bit if he needs to, but he will mainly throw big shots, and he will make you pay if you leave yourself out of position. And I agree that Makdessi's taken a lot more damage than Nasrat has. So this is a great fight for Nasrat. It's just a matter of whether he can get it done or not, this is why we fight the fights. We want to know what's going to happen because anything can happen. Because if we just all did it based off of our opinions, John, we'd all end up with Holly Holm and the other girl. See, we forgot her name already. So this is why we fight the fights. All right, what else we got?
We got William Gomez against Jarno Errens. I've watched Gomez fight one time. Solid, strong, fast, got the whole thing. I've never watched Jarno Errens fight. Okay. I've never seen him fight. Have you?
Nope. I haven't seen either one of them fight. So I don't want to say too much on them because they both, I'm sure, are good. One's 10-2 and Gomez is 10-2, and then you got Aaron's 13-3-1. So good records. We'll see how that plays out. But you know who I have seen fight though? Charles Jourdain.
Yeah, I know.
Hell low. I have a question though, John. What the hell is he doing so low on the card?
Man, I'll tell you, there's a couple of them on this card. I look and it's like, all right, obviously they have, like every promoter, there's a reason, behind some of their things as far as locals or, countrymen that are fighting, putting them on the main card. But Charles Jourdain is a stud. Yes, he lost his last fight against Shane Burgos, but man, what a fight it was. He could have won it. The guy is a stud. He's had some unbelievable moments in the cage. He's good everywhere, good on his feet, good on the ground. Nathaniel Wood, tough dude. This is a great matchup right here. And then I also look at, you've got Buckley in there against Imavov. I can't believe how low that is on the card. I think that's a great matchup. That's going to be a great fight. And you would think that fight, which is it's the fourth fight on the card. It's like, that's going to be a great fight. And it's that far down. Crazy, but they're doing it.
You think sometimes, right, that maybe they got inside track, maybe Buckley's hurt, or maybe Imavov they're not impressed with right now, and they want to just.
How can you not be impressed with that dude? He has been smoking people.
You don't know, John. Sometimes they get a wild hair up their ass. I mean, look at Corey Anderson was considered one of those guys that was just a lay and pray guy, and he got away from it, and it cost him. And these Russian fighters, these Dagestan fighters, or these Czech, fighters, whatever they are, they don't care. They're going to keep doing what they do to be successful. I think in this situation with Imavov, he's just got to follow his game plan. He's got to be very careful of the spinning attacks. Got to be very careful of the power of Buckley. I mean, because Buckley he's small for the size because they're fighting at 85, correct? Buckley's still at 85.
Yeah.
Is that he's explosive though, super explosive. Combinations come from all different angles. He's dynamic with his feet, as we've seen already, and he can do anything in any time that will shock you. So Imavov's got to be careful, even though, and I agree with you, John, I have no idea why this fucking fight is so low down on the card.
Well, also, look at Imavov fights out of France. He fights out of the same camp as Cyril Gane.
Yeah.
I'm like, doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. And then you got the fight before that is the guy that, Benoit St. Denis, who he had the one bad loss, came back, got a win. This dude is a stud. He is a tough dude going against Gabriel Miranda. That's a good matchup. And again, hometown guy from France, St. Denis. So, but he's starting it off and, with the third slot, but
this is the only thing.
He's someone I want to watch.
Let's think about this, because we've worked for promotions forever. Sometimes they'll have someone who's a fan favorite, right? Earlier in the card to get the crowd there as early as possible.
There earlier. Yep.
So that wouldn't make sense. I mean, hey, let's get them there as fast as we can.
Yeah.
Because people are going to be tuning in for sure because it's the prelims, but it's the first show they've ever done in France. The UFC's ever done in France. And so they want to make sure that the crowd is there and it's packed before they start going too deep into the card. They can't have it how it is like in boxing, where the whole card's over and the main event's just getting started and there's like 10 people in the crowd. And not till like the second or third round do fans actually get there for the main event, in boxing. With MMA, we've never had that problem. Fans trickle in around the second and third, fight on the prelims, and they stay. They're loyal. Like, that's one thing I can say about MMA fans, John. They're fucking there for every fight. It's so weird to me that boxing fans don't get there earlier, because boxing fans have always been known to be hardworking people. They're normally those are the people that they're saving all their money to try and go to these boxing matches, but they still don't get there till later.
Yeah, but here's the difference. They are hardworking people, but boxing promoters, for the most part, if you look at the undercards on some boxing, big time boxing,
doo-doo.
No, yeah, I mean, just nobody's fighting, and so it's like they go,
Jake Pauls.
That does not interest me at all. I
That's
want
what I'm saying.
I want to see
Jake
the
Pauls.
co-main and the main, and that's when I'm going to show up. And it's like, okay, I understand.
No,
you have to have some, like not skin in the game, but you have to know the fighter to have an interest. That's usually what drives someone to get there. And with MMA has done a great job of having fighters that people get interested in, and so they show up no matter where they are on the card.
what's crazy is we used to go to the Arnold Classic Strikeforce when I was with Strikeforce. We used to go to the Arnold Classic. And I remember signing autographs all day at the Arnold. I'd be there from like 10 in the morning until like 6 at night.
Yep.
But it was a blast. But with the people you would meet, they would say, I go to one event all year. It's the Arnold Classic, and I go to Strikeforce now because you guys are now all tied together. They're like, I do that every single year because I go to the Arnold, and then you guys, all the fighters are here, and then we go right from here to the actual fights. I'm like, that's pretty awesome because MMA fans, that's what they do. Like they are loyal. Remember, that's why I was so disappointed when the UFC got rid of International Fight Week. When they stopped getting, when they got rid of Tap Out couldn't be there anymore, Affliction couldn't be there anymore, and it was like it was just Reebok. It lost the nostalgia of like how great it was. It was so great because you had every fighter that could come to represent their sponsor, and they were able to make a little bit of money on the side. But it was also a good way to help build up all their fan base, because there was people that came and like they saw you, and they met you, and they hated you before. But then when they met you, they realized that they liked you. That was my total MMO. Like, you're such an asshole, da-da-da-da-da. But then they met me like, you're so nice. How are you so nice with all these kids and these, and everyone else that's in line? I'm like, this is who I am, dude. So it was like, it was a good opportunity for the fans to really get to know the fighters.
Look, before Strikeforce, okay, Strikeforce set the North American MMA record with their very first show. People don't realize that the Strikeforce #1, which was Frank Shamrock against Cesar Gracie as the main event, which was a horrible fight, but it was
19,820 something seats or something like that.
It was 18,800 and some was the total sales. No,
was it 18? Okay,
yeah, 18 something. But it set the record, and it held that record for a long time until the UFC Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio, which was UFC 68. Randy Couture fought Tim Sylvia, and that beat it at 19,000 something. It held. But that's what shows like the Arnold Classic and that combining of that type of atmosphere with MMA, it worked. It worked for what?
John, you're forgetting the show that beat them all, though. At the Coliseum, K1, that beat it all, right? That beat it all. What was there, like 50,000 people? Not 50,000 people, but did they buy all the tickets?
Dude, I swear to you. Okay, I had a gym back then. They came and said, "Can we bring tickets, for you guys to, just hand out?" Sure. They gave me like 10,000 tickets. I was like, "What do you expect?" I said, "I can't get rid of 10,000 fucking tickets."
Yeah,
but,
like, just give them away.
Yeah, I gave some away.
All. They bought like 20-something thousand tickets or something like that, and they just handed them all out. Yeah,
yep.
That shouldn't count towards the record. That's
not the record.
It was considered the record for a bit.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, people try to say, the K1 did the record because they bought all the fucking tickets.
Oh my God, no. Yeah, okay, if you're going to go in North America, what's the record?
I would say George St. Pierre, not Koscheck, Jake Shields, wasn't it?
That's right. UFC 129.
Rogers?
55,000 something.
Was it 55? I thought it was 54. Man, I'm off by it.
55 gotcha. Something. But
even tip my hat to you.
But you go back into Pride, and Pride, was it Shock with 91,000? I want to say.
I fought Kawajiri in Tokyo on New Year's Eve, and I think they said like 53,000 or something.
Yeah. There's a couple ones. I did a couple K1s that were 50,000, 50-some thousand.
Nagoya, I fought in Nagoya Arena too against Amazon. That was 43,000.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy though is, as much as I love to be able to tell people that, it felt like there was 10 people in the arena.
Exactly, because it's quiet. It's just the way it is.
Fuck.
It is the way it is. But when it pops, it does pop.
Yeah, it did. It popped well for me.
Whoa! And then
in that first fight against Amazon Sugie or whatever it was, Daisuke, it popped because he almost armbarred me. I was able to wiggle out of it, and then I switched right from the armbar to a knee bar. And so they were, for the whole 2.5 minutes of the fight, they were fucking on their feet, which was great for me. So,
that's awesome.
Had they not been quiet during the time that I escaped the armbar, I wouldn't have been able to hear Crazy Bob telling him to get the feet off my face so I could slide my leg through for the knee bar. So I was actually very thankful that they were quiet during that time. Otherwise, I was getting ready to tap. That shit was tight, but it was a fun fight, man. I look back, I'm like thankful for it. I don't know, like I agree with you, Benoit Saint Denis. That's going to be a great fight. He's a stud. I love watching him fight. The Jourdain fight, I love watching him fight as well. He's one of my all-time favorites right now in the game. He's exciting. It's sad that he ended up losing to Burgos, but it was a great fight back and forth. Burgos ran off to the PFL, just making a ton of fucking money now.
Good for him.
And he's basically replacing Rory McDonald in the money department. What a lucky son of a bitch. I might have to make a comeback, John. Shit, no. Just kidding. Hell no. No. All right, well, hey, that's going to wrap up our UFC talk, and Dave's got some news for us, so we're going to get into some news. But let's first, before we wrap up and move on to the news, let's actually talk about Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz in boxing.
Coming up.
John, I mean, let's be honest. You like to criticize Mr. Ortiz for his age. But the guy can box.
Dude, he can box. He's a stud, man. He's got skills. You know, Cuban fighters, they were trained right, man. They understand, they understand the fundamentals of boxing. And he still has speed. He's got power in his hands. He's going to find Andy Ruiz a difficult target to hit at times. Andy's a lot more fluid on his feet than people give him credit for. There's a reason why he did beat Joshua. He came back and didn't look good in the rematch because he gained a lot of weight. That's what happens when you become the champ. But this is a good matchup, and it's a matter of Andy needs to outlast him. Andy needs to make it to where he is making him work and making him work hard, doesn't take the big shots, and then as the rounds start to go by, start to pick up the pace and start putting volume on him, and that's your way to beat someone like Ortiz. But this is a really good heavyweight matchup. This is one of the ones you look at and you go, that's an interesting fight. Because a lot of times you'll get guys, it's just not that interesting. This is an interesting fight because both guys can win it. They're just going to win it in different ways.
Yeah, I look at Ortiz. He's gonna have to get this fight out of here between 5 and 6 rounds.
I would have said 6, 7.
Yeah, as it gets into that 5, 6, 7 round area, depending on how much output Ortiz has, or not Ortiz, but Ruiz has against Ortiz, he's gonna start to slow him down. He's got to make sure he doesn't take the big shots because Ruiz, if he leaves his chin out there, he's very hittable.
Oh yeah.
What I have liked though, John, during this camp, and I've been able to watch a couple of the clips of his training camp, he has slimmed down quite a bit.
A lot.
He's looking a lot
and
faster.
He's moving really well.
And that's the other thing. He's got to make sure he doesn't stand directly in front of Ortiz because that power is still there. The speed is still there, especially in those early rounds. And I have to basically, I'm just dittoing what you said in terms of Ortiz has the power and the speed in the earlier rounds. But as the fight goes on, look for Ruiz to start to run away with it. But he's got to make sure he doesn't lose too many of those earlier rounds. Otherwise, he won't be able to get it back in rounds 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
That's right.
Because one thing is Ortiz still got a good chin. Everyone can look at what happened with the Deontay Wilder fight, but you got to remember that. He was winning that fight. It was a good fight up until it was close. He was winning that fight.
Yeah,
I had Ortiz winning that fight. And then they can happen.
Right up to the point he got knocked out.
Yeah, right up to the point he got knocked out. So there's less of a threat. I mean, anyone that gets hit by Wilder, though, come on, let's be real.
No, Wilder's right hand.
Yeah, just nasty. Yep. What was the saying with
Crow Cop? Right leg hospital, left leg cemetery.
There you go. And that's kind of how Wilder is with his hands.
It's very similar.
He is with his hands.
Very similar.
But if you guys are interested, man, check out mybookie.ag. Use our promo code weighing in, and they'll have some odds on this fight. You guys let them know we sent you there. They'll give you some some spending cash too for that first initial deposit. So check them out. All right, let's get into some news there, Dave.
All right, the next one we're going to look at is Bellator's announced the rest of its year's schedule.
Okay. Boom. Well, there's a whole lot of stuff going on. Obviously, going to back to Dublin, where you've got Peter Queally, who is a mainstay there. He's one of the main sparring partners for McGregor's. As far as coming up, the guy he's just a good technical fighter, fun to watch. Going against Benson Henderson, and then you've got Manhoef going against Yoel Romero. That's a fun fight. Nothing, as far as championships or anything like that. Nothing that you can go, that is something you've got, to be seeing, but solid fights. The next one is really good.
Yeah, the next one is good. You got Pitbull versus Boric. We've talked about this fight, Patricio Pitbull, not Patricky. But for the October 1st, Saturday, October 1st, that will be in Long Beach. I'm excited for that fight. The other fight, though, that's happening on that card, which is AJ McKee versus Spike Carlisle. John, all of those, I gotta
he knows my opinion.
Let me get a drink because I have a lot to say about this.
He knows my opinion on this, so I'm just waiting.
There's a lot to be said. AJ McKee is the better fighter. AJ McKee is the faster. I think he has more power. I think he's going to be the more athletic, obviously. He's the better wrestler. He's all of those things. But he has never had to deal with someone that will just, like a zombie, take a shot, walk forward, take a shot, walk forward, get dropped, get back up, all of those things. Spike Carlisle is going to come forward and try to finish the fight every single step of the way. Mm-hmm. In Carlisle's last fight, he had a very good fight against Dan Moret, where he was losing that fight. He was losing that fight.
And because he has fucking balls of steel and did not quit, ends up choking him out.
Ends up catching him at the end of the fight. And this is something that can happen. Look, AJ McKee is quick on the neck, as we saw against Patricio in their first fight. He's good with his different types of neck cranks, guillotines, as Darren Caldwell found out. He's got tricks up his sleeve. But if he thinks he's going to go up there at 55 and just walk through and dominate, he's got another thing coming. I mean, don't get me wrong. Spike Carlisle is not the guy, the big name, all the flash, all that stuff. He's not that guy. But this could be one of those really quick fights. Or if AJ goes in there thinking he's just going to walk away with it, it could end up being a long night for him. It could end up being a lot tougher fight for him than he's thinking. That's not a good situation to be in.
No.
He better go in 100% telling himself, I could lose this fight. I need to get this win.
I look at this, and I'm just going to say it straight out. That is dumb matchmaking.
Absolutely.
Dumb. Absolutely the dumbest thing ever. But, hey, both guys going to fight. I like Spike Carlyle. I think Spike Carlyle is fun to watch. He was fun when he was in the UFC. He is just a dog of a fighter who will take shots to give shots. But if you're saying, this is a guy that you had as your pound for pound guy, and now he's moving up in weight, and you're putting him against a guy that's not even ranked, dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Yep. I would have liked to have seen him fight somebody in that top 10 in the 55-pound division. Dave, can you pull up the 55-pound division for us, please, for Bellator? While Dave's doing that, you've got, I don't know who the guy Adam Piccolotti is fighting. Actually, never mind. We'll go back into this 55. So you have AJ McKee. I would have liked to have seen him fight Miles Jury. I would have liked to have seen him fight... Maybe, you know what? I mean, I know Sidney's just coming off of his loss, so that fight wouldn't have happened right away. How about Rabadanov?
Rabadanov.
Would have been a great fight.
Yeah.
Good wrestler, good striking, not a big 55-pounder, not extremely fast, but he's a dog. He's got a lot going for him right now. He's part of Team Khabib. Like, that's a tough fight for anyone. I would like to have seen that fight. I would like to have seen Miles Jury. That'd have been another guy. I get up into that mix. I think it would have been like Shabli and him for his first fight. I would have not matched him up against Shabli. I would have not matched him up against Mosaev Tofik.
But I would have matched him up against Brent Primus. I would take a former champion in the featherweight division and a former champion in the lightweight, and I would put those two together. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does make a lot of sense. John, for once in my life, I can say you're making sense to me.
Thank you. For once.
for once. But I would have liked to have seen the Rabadanov fight, the Brent Primus fight. I agree with you on that. If Benson and Queally weren't matched up already, I would have said either one of those guys.
Yeah.
If they weren't already matched up, I would have said either one of those. But
I agree.
Hey, we'll see what happens. Next, let's see what's next on this card. I don't know who Adam Piccolotti is fighting. I don't know anything about him. Do you know anything about him?
I have watched it's Barnokoi. I want to say this, how you say his name. I've watched him. He's very good in the stand-up. This is one of those, he's not good as far as he can't be with Adam Piccolotti on the ground in the same fashion. He's okay down there, but he's going to end up having problems if it goes to the ground. So interesting. Yeah, in the stand-up, it will be for a while. I look at Edwards versus Ward. That one makes no sense to me at all. No sense at all. But,
None.
Again.
None. I have no idea what's going on. It's not... Charlie Ward is extremely tough.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just not... It's not a good fight for him. The speed... The mobility, the stand-up, the kicks, all of those things are gonna play a big factor. And I love me some Charlie Ward, man. I love the way he fights. I love the grit he has. I love everything about it. I love watching him fight. But this is not a good matchup for him.
And what you're looking at, look at Fabian Edwards is Leon Edwards' brother, who fights in the middleweight division for Bellator, and he fights very similar to Leon as far as very, very effective in the stand-up. Very fluid with his kicks, good speed, good power in his hands, and Charlie Ward is not the guy that normally is a takedown guy and a ground and pound. He will do it at times if he's got a guy like Edwards, and I could see him trying to take Edwards down, but it's not going to be easy because Fabian, just like Leon, has worked at his wrestling, and he's not easy to take down. So this is one that's going to be a tough one for Charlie.
And Fabian also, too, coming off the high of his brother winning the title, plus him coming off of his highlight reel knockout of Lyoto Machida, that right there lets you know, like they're that when someone in your camp is winning the way that they're winning right now,
confidence.
Confidence is high. Your gym confidence is high. Your fighters are fighting at another level. It's contagious. Exactly, it's contagious. They all start to feel like they can all be successful and they can all win titles.
Yep.
And so they expect for Leon to come out and have a dominant performance off of his confidence.
You mean
the fight
Fabian.
though that
you mean Fabian?
Sorry, Fabian.
But Leon might.
Yeah, he might. Look, the fight that I'm really looking forward to, though, is both this card right here is I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
is I'm looking forward to Nemkov Anderson 2. John, I'm going to be 100% honest. Corey Anderson was running away with that fight.
Starting to. Well, okay, stop. I'm being honest when I say that.
I know. I felt like he was already, he was already on his way.
Lost the first round.
Yeah.
He won the second round.
Yeah.
And he was winning the third round when
he dominated the second round, though, John. Dominated the second round.
And I gave him the second round, and he was winning the third round.
Yeah.
When it got stopped based upon a head clash that he created. So, I mean, it was unfortunate. And I do agree with you. I thought he was starting to take over the fight. Everything was rolling in his direction. Mm-hmm. You're right.
You know what's crazy, right? Is that we started this tournament how long ago? And this is the finals. And we're in the semifinals of the bantamweight tournament that we started. So it's crazy to think that we've, because there was injuries, there was some other stuff that all happened and came about. But this is going to be the result of the light heavyweight World Grand Prix that has been stretched out because of the Ukraine and Russia situation. That was one thing.
All kinds of things.
That extended it out, and then the headbutt with the cut. I want to know though, how much different do you think Nemkov is going to be, based off the fact that the Russia-Ukraine thing is still going on, but I think things have kind of, I don't want to say subsided. People are still, it's still going on. Yeah. So that's going to have an effect on people's lives. But Nemkov is able to come back into the States, able to fight. How much of it, because that was relatively new going on, how much do you think that affected his performance in the first fight? And how much different do you think he'll be in this fight?
I can't say how much it affected his performance in the first one. I'm not going to sit there and actually go that way. I look at it, the thing that affected his performance was this guy named Corey Anderson. That was what was affecting his performance. Corey Anderson, once he understood the speed and range, started to get into being able to take him down. He was timing his takedowns well. He was using ground and pound. He was wearing him down. He was doing all the things that you looked at what Corey Anderson needed to beat him. That's what Corey was doing. So I look at it and say, is it the whole Ukrainian Russian thing? I can't say that. It might have been, but I can't say it. So
yeah, but that's John. That's like saying that some of these fighters didn't have places to train during COVID. It's very similar. Where they were training and where things were going on there in Russia, like it was harder for them, and also traveling. Whether they get their visas to come in, the traveling, the setting up. Whether am I doing a full camp? Am I not? Am I really going to fight? Am I going to get a visa? Am I not going to get a visa? It's a lot of that wish and wash back and forth. It had to have had some sort of effect. Now I agree with you. Corey Anderson started to implement his will in his game plan, and it started taking away and started running away with the fight. I said that from the beginning. Yeah. But I think in this situation, I think we're going to see it. I'm not saying the results are going to be different. I mean, I hope they're different in terms of a headbutt. But I'm not saying that Corey may potentially start running away with it again, maybe even earlier or maybe a little bit later. But to think, for me, I believe that Nemkov will be a different fighter in this fight.
I agree with you.
Things will be different.
I think the fact that he is now seen the way Corey sets things up, he has felt Corey's power. He has felt the ground and the control that Corey has on the ground. I think he's going to change his application of his offense in an attempt to make sure that he doesn't end up under Corey. Mm-hmm. The question is, can he make that happen? I don't know.
Are these the two best 205 pounders right now in the world?
Two of them. I mean, you got to put Yuri Prochazka up there. He's definitely up there. Glover is there. Obviously he lost the fight, but he was the champion, and I just love Glover, even though he's 42 years of age. I know it's near the end of it, but I love the man. So you got to give him his due, and you got guys coming up. You've got Ankalaev. He's good. Yeah, he's a stud. I would say that you have a handful in the light heavyweight division right now of about 6 or 7 that I think any of them could end up, beating the other, at any time. It's just, that's the way it is. And that's the way it should be. That's kind of cool.
Give you that. I will give you that. Now, look, I have said a lot of things. about Usman Nurmagomedov. I want this fight. I'd like this fight. I think it favors Usman over Patricky. What my concern was is that why are we in a rush to get him there? I wanted to see him fight somebody in that top 10, which we have not seen him fight. His win over Chris Gonzalez, dominant, great performance. Not really long enough to take a whole lot away from it. Okay, and I would like to see him battle tested one or two more times before rushing him into a title, because I really believe this, is he could be champion for a long time in this weight class. He's got some tough guys that are making their run up, but other fighters that have beaten guys that are ranked higher than him, they're pushed below him. And those fighters now, and they're all friends, they all communicate and talk. Tofik has been very public about it. Shabli's been very public about it.
Yep.
And look, I don't care who gets the title shot. I got no skin in the game. I like Usman. I'm obviously friends and close with family stuff, but I would have liked to have seen him get one more fight in before he got the title shot. It's not going to change anything, John.
No.
It's not going to change anything. He's going to fight for the title because there's a good chance, I think next year they're going to do a lightweight tournament, because it would make sense. You've got too many killers right now in that lightweight division not to do that tournament next year. It makes sense to maybe start it sometime in February, March, right when the bantamweight tournament's wrapping up, hopefully, knock on wood. And it makes sense. But this is, I think, Patricky's got the power, but Usman's got the wrestling, he's got the kicks and the distance. With anybody that fights Patricky's got to be very careful of the power and the headbutts. So once you get past those, okay, but hey, it depends on who the ref is really with the headbutts. But look,
you need to pay that referee more.
This is going to be one of those dog fights, though, because if we see the Patricky that showed up to fight Tofik and Ryzen,
you got to fight.
You have a fight. Yep. And this will be one of those, and this is where you find out if Usman is battle tested against someone who fought against a Patricky that fought Tofik. That's where I would have liked to have seen that one more fight against a top-level guy where he could be a little bit more pushed, a little bit more, because right now he's made it look so easy. And sometimes fighters can get caught up in, I've been walking through these guys, titles next, like you can get a little complacent in there. I don't want to see that happen to him. I want to see him be successful.
Yeah.
That's just me. But I think it's going to shape up to be a good fight if both fighters show up on task.
Oh, that should be a great fight. And it's really, I hate to say it, Usman he's a technician in the stand-up. Very good at just controlling the range, understanding that distance, and being very accurate when he throws. He's got good wrestling when he wants to take the fight down. He normally doesn't, but he's got to be careful of that power, because power can change it with one shot, and it's happened with Patricky many times where, he hasn't been winning the fight. One shot, he's the winner. And so he's always got that in that back pocket, so that's a good thing for him. The next one, and the one that's going to finish out the year for Bellator, December 9th, Bellator 289 has got the semifinals of the Bantamweight Grand Prix, and you got two good ones here.
Yeah, you do have two good ones. There was a lot of media this week on this with Stotts and Sabatello getting after each other, talking shit.
Ariel Helwani being a referee, I loved it.
It was hilarious. Guys, come on, not here. Guys. But we were about ready to see the nose get it all done, man. About to give both the bantamweights a rub. Let them know what's up. Who's the boss? He's about to be Helwani all up in their asses. I loved it. So, yeah, the fighters just got to learn to control themselves a little bit better. But this is the game, man. This is the nature of the beast when you put two guys like that are very competitive. Both are good wrestlers. Both are good fighters. A lot of trash talking going back and forth. But the fight that I'm excited for that fight. Don't get me wrong, but I'm more excited for this other fight. Because This is one of those, yes, the reason being, John, is stylistically, it's a great matchup. You got Mix, who is phenomenal on the ground, and you've got Magomedov, who is extremely hard to take down, and someone that likes to take people down. So how is Mix going to get this thing to the ground? And we saw in the last fight with Magomedov, he's got all these weird spinning attacks. He's not shy on the feet. He throws, and he throws with some heat. His fight with Barboza was fucking one of the best fights of the year that I was able to witness. It was a great fight. Barzola, sorry, not what I say.
Barboza.
I say Barboza, damn it.
That's all right.
Barzola.
All right.
And Barzola is a dog. He's someone that comes forward, puts a lot of pressure. And it was a great, fun fight. I saw a lot more out of Magomedov, who I want to remind people has a win over Peter Yan, also has a loss to him, but also has a win over Peter Yan. So it's not like he's some slouch. He's good all the way around. He's got good wrestling, good trips.
He's got 2 losses.
He's got 2 losses. Lost to Rafael Stotts as well.
Yeah.
So good fighter, very talented, good on the feet. I was expecting him in the Barzola fight to really kind of wilt under the pressure and be stuck standing on the feet and not know what to do. I was fucking wrong. He throws everything with the kitchen sink. He's got the great cardio, great conditioning. He pushes the pace. He throws a lot of spinning actions. Yes, he's fantastic. So Patchy Mix has got his hands full. After I watched that fight with Barzola, I was like, oh, he doesn't have to. Yeah, Magomedov doesn't have to take Mix down, and he can stuff Mix's takedowns if he needs to, and just keep the space. Now, Patchy Mix also in his last fight against who did he fight?
Kyoji
Horiguchi. He showed me a lot in that fight.
Oh yeah,
he showed me how patient he can be, how much he learned from the Juan fight, where he wasn't just walking forward, being stupid and wasting energy. He showed me that his fight IQ is definitely excelled. He's gotten a lot smarter on how he attacks the game and what he needs to do to keep the fight in his possession. What he did was he closed the distance, didn't chase after, hit him with some combinations, got the takedowns when they were easy, didn't force them. He fought extremely smart, and I expect him to do the same thing in this fight. This could be a really, really good fight when this fight hits the ground, or it could be a really good fight on the feet where 2 guys are having to slug it out because neither one of them, one can't get the takedown, one can sprawl and brawl, one doesn't want to get the takedown because of the submission threat. We all know how good Patchy Mix is on the ground. Everybody at Extreme Couture has talked about it. Everyone around Vegas has talked about it. The kid's a stud on the ground. Just making a lot of black belts look like they're white belts sometimes.
Making a lot of world champions look bad on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that fight plays out, but I'm excited for that fight.
I am too, and it's the real question. And this is the one thing that I got out of Patchy Mix when he fought Horiguchi. Horiguchi's fast, and that was my question going into that fight. How would Patchy do against the speed of Horiguchi? Because we saw in his fight, his only loss to Juan Archuleta, he allowed a person to dictate the fight when things didn't go his way, and he wasn't able to control his emotions and fight smart throughout the entire fight. Boy, he changed that up against Horiguchi because he fought really smart, like you were talking about. He would cut off the cage, but he would not overextend at times. And he took a guy that was fast and definitely faster than him and just waited for his moments to take and put the fight in a position where the speed didn't make a matter. And that's how he got the win. And he fought great. Cause I would have said going into this, my concern would be Magomed is faster than Mix. I don't think that matters in this. The real question is when it hits the ground, who's going to be the guy in the top position? That's what's going to matter.
Yeah, because Magomedov has been in trouble on the ground. When he fought Matos, he got clipped, got rocked, got his back taken, almost got finished in the first 30 seconds of that fight.
And against Stotts.
And against Stotts as well, got his back taken.
Yep.
The last place you want Patchy Mix is on your back.
Exactly.
The last place. So that's why this fight intrigues me the most, John. What you said and what I was talking about is how Patchy Mix's fight IQ has definitely risen since his loss.
No doubt.
To Juan Archuleta, and Magomedov really finding his own into the Bellator organization after his last couple fights. So I like where this is all headed. I love what's coming up, on the cards for the rest of the year. There has been buzz and talk that there is potentially a Japan fight, but that hasn't been worked out yet. If that's still working around, I don't know yet, but I doubt I'll be going to that. I haven't gone the last couple of years that we've done it. So, all right. Well, hey, that's the Bellator upcoming events. Let's talk more news. What you got?
Oh, finally. Sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
No,
I'm
you got
stealing it from you.
reports out that Jake Paul's trying to finalize this fight with Anderson Silva for boxing. It's not official yet, but there are several sources reporting it.
From what I heard, the contracts have been signed for this.
Where's it going to be at? MSG?
That I did not hear.
No, I don't know. I'm asking. Yeah, I'm just asking. I don't know.
I mean, his last one was supposed to be at MSG, so maybe they'll try to put it right back there. But I don't care. Yeah. Jake Paul, this is the fight that I always thought this was the one that I wanted to see. You take on Anderson Silva in this. This is a guy who, he's older than you by a lot, by double. But let's be honest, size-wise, he is definitely your size. Skill-wise, he is the most skilled fighter you have ever taken on. Let's see what happens here, because I'm interested. I will watch this fight. I will pay to watch this fight, and it's a Jake Paul fight. I don't care, and it's because he's fighting Anderson Silva.
I don't know how I feel about it, John. I'm being honest.
Good.
I don't know how I feel about it. What it is we know that Anderson's not the fighter that he was, and I'd hate to see a YouTuber get a win over Anderson Silva. It would drive
hold
me
on.
Hold on.
Nuts. I want to build you up a little bit here. I want you to gain some confidence here. Who has Jake Paul fought in boxing?
That is not the case, John.
No, I asked you a question. Who has he fought?
Saying. No, wrestlers.
Okay. So
small wrestlers.
Anderson Silva throughout his career was a wrestler or was a striker?
Striker, I get you.
Okay. Now, look, he definitely used other elements that he cannot use in the boxing ring. But his first fight in boxing, basically, he had one earlier before, but when Anderson stopped fighting MMA and went into boxing, who did he fight?
Tito Ortiz.
Oh, no. Come on. Damn it. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Yeah.
That was his first fight. Nope. People can say whatever they want. At one time, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was a good fighter. That was a world champion. Now, I'm not saying he didn't have a lot of fights against guys that he absolutely should have won, but in the end, he had some tough fights against some very tough boxers. Anderson Silva beat him, and beat him cleanly. Now, one judge gave it to Chavez, and that was some corrupt bastard, but it was easy to see that Anderson Silva won that fight. Now, then Anderson Silva has had multiple other fights, one being against Tito, and he did exactly what he should have done against Tito. He knocked him out. He can box. Jake Paul can box.
I know he can box.
I can't wait to watch this one. I'm excited. I'm getting choked up.
All I said was I'm torn because I would hate to see a YouTuber beat Anderson Silva.
I don't think you're going to see a YouTuber beat Anderson.
Is he going to go to the distance?
Possible.
I don't know how to feel about it. Look, do I think it's a good challenge for Jake Paul? I think it is. I'm more skeptical of the terms of the fact that Anderson Silva's chin is not what it used to be, and that scares me.
When's the last time he got hurt?
I don't.
Come
know.
on. It's important.
I didn't watch his Cesar Chavez fight. I didn't watch his Tito.
Didn't
fight.
get hurt at all.
I just watched Tito go.
Okay. Obviously, Tito didn't hurt him at all.
No.
Okay. No one's hurt him in the boxing ring so far. And the whole point is this. Anyone can get hurt, knocked out.
Yeah.
And Anderson could. But Anderson is not easy to hit. Jake Paul, as far as length, he's going to have a very hard time getting in on Anderson. Anderson defensively is very good. And so this is the first time Jake Paul is going to go into this fight with a plus. We're going to talk about my bookie. He is going to be the underdog in this fight. Going against a 47, he might even be 48 by the time they fight. I don't know. But a 48-year-old man. But he's going to be the underdog. And there are those guys, Josh. There's just those guys that you look and you go, yeah, you can fight all the way up to about 50. Bernard Hopkins, he was one, wasn't he? He was.
Yeah, he was.
He was. Randy
his
Couture.
His style made it that way.
That's okay. Randy Couture, same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Randy was
There are
when?
those guys.
47, 48 when he had to hang it up, correct?
Yeah, 47.
And that's where we're at
48.
with Anderson. That's where it gets me.
Well, we'll see.
John, see, this is what I'm talking about. With
I don't think this is going to be the one.
With the lighter weight classes, it's 37, 38, pushing 39. That's for the lighter weight classes. You get in the heavier weight classes, it's 40.
So what do you think this weight class is?
It's the heavier weight class. I get it, but he's on the end of that where I'm talking about. That's
I'm not
what
saying
scares
he's not on
me.
the end. But I look at this and I go, hey, this is at least a real fight.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This isn't him. This isn't Jake Paul trying to take on Michael Bisping, and this is no disrespect to Michael at all. Michael's a stud. I love him as far as a fighter, but the man has one eye.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's got two, metal knees.
Yeah.
Don't challenge Mike Bisping. Okay. Mike Bisping has given everything that he can to the fight game. Mm-hmm. That's a cause that you should not even be going after. But Anderson still has been fighting, and he has been boxing, and he's been boxing well. And this is one I look and I go, hey, my hat's off to you, Jake. You're actually fighting a real man. You're fighting someone that is your size. You're fighting somebody that is going to be the guy that's the favorite going into the fight.
John, I sat up here.
Unless a bunch of YouTube idiots change the odds, which I hope they do. Okay. Because then I'll be putting a lot of money on Mr. Anderson Silva.
John, I sat up here. I think it was it last week's midweek show? We talked about the Rockman fight being canceled and like who else was, and he was chasing after KSI to fight.
Yeah.
Jake Paul was. It was last week sometime we sat up here and talked about that. This to me feels like he had a conversation with whatever promoter is trying to promote him and said, hey, people are not interested in you fighting Rockman. People are not interested in you fighting KSI. People are interested in you fighting somebody that actually is good. Yep. Somebody that has a name, someone that's your size. And I think this is that step. Like, hey, the nostalgia's over that, it's the YouTuber fighting a fighter because you were a wrestler, but because you were a fighter in the UFC. No. They want to see you fight someone your size and someone that can strike. That's why I think this fight is coming about.
Yeah, so do I.
I think all the stuff that was happening before, the Rockman fight, people are like, we don't care about that. We want somebody with a name. Anderson Silva is the name. I'm surprised they didn't try to give him Vitor Belfort, to be honest.
If you look at it, in actuality, what does Jake Paul have to lose?
Absolutely nothing.
There you go.
Yeah,
he doesn't have anything to lose. If he loses to Anderson Silva, who does he lose to?
It's not
he loses to the guy that has the longest win streak in the UFC. He loses to the guy that was the champion for 2,500 and some days. He loses. He's not gonna. It's no big deal.
His brother lost to Floyd Mayweather, and it actually just helped him.
Yeah,
that's
the whole point.
They're like Teflon, man. Nothing hurts.
The whole point. This is a no lose for him. I just look at it and I go, hey, I understand why you're taking it, man. Way to go. I'm glad you're man enough to take it. That's a tough fight. And it's a no lose for you.
Interesting.
Where the other ones are.
I guess we'll see. All right, next.
All right, this next one, and this may be the one we wrap up on. Josh wanted to address this situation. Dominic Reyes.
I love this.
Pictured side by side with Alex Perreira. And, there's quite a discrepancy here in size.
Well, hold on. I want to, Dave, if you can do this, just, you don't have to pull up the numbers. But I believe that Dominic Reyes is 6'4". And I believe that Alex is listed at 6'3". Okay. Yeah. I don't think I'm wrong there.
I understand what you're saying.
But you look at this, and I will tell you, Dominic Reyes is 6'4". Yep. He is. I stand right next to him. We're right at it.
They're both billed at 6'4".
Are they both billed at 6'4"? I thought that they had Perreira at 6'3".
Jeez, man.
No, 6'4" in multiple sources.
Okay, all right. So but you take a look. Well, if he's 6'4" and he's 6'4", he just became 6'5".
Yeah. Yeah, he looks significantly not just thicker,
just bigger.
but just bigger.
Just bigger. Look, I mean, everything. Look at the neck.
Oh,
You know,
it's
everything.
John. It's what's crazy to me is that one fights at 205, the smaller one on the left, and the other one fights at 85.
Well, I mean, Josh, just take a look at the leg length comparatively.
Yeah.
You know, it's just everything. You look and you go,
Yeah.
wow, that's a 185.
Yeah. The hip line is taller for Perreira. The shoulder height
by far.
is taller.
I mean, look at
And
their
the
belly
head is
buttons.
taller.
That's 3 inches difference.
Oh yeah. Jeez, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, he's got power. He's got the look.
power.
He's marketable. I mean,
Well,
and
that's why Izzy's going to be fighting him.
Reyes making a comeback.
That's
Looking
gonna be a
forward to
good
this.
one.
I'm looking forward to this fight. Looking forward to that. Izzy and Perreira, and then I'm looking forward to Reyes making his comeback.
Yep.
All right, guys. Hey, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button on our Weighing In Podcast YouTube channel, as well as on all of our audio platforms. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, all of those things, iTunes. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, hit the thumbs up, start sharing our content. We appreciate you guys so much. Also, we go to weighinginpodcast.com, pick up some of our merch. We'll have some hats up there available to you guys here shortly. And we have the 10-8 to 10-9 round where Josh Thompson's handing out 10-8s to Big John McCarthy all show. But what we're about to do is we're about to leave you guys right now. And we're going to go film our 5 rounds main event, which is only available on our Clips channel. And you can get there by hitting that link down below on our YouTube channel. That will take you directly to our Clips channel. Hit the subscribe and the like button there as well, because we have all of our short clips that we release. And that short show that we do called 5 Rounds Main Event is only available on that channel. So hopefully you guys enjoy that show, which we're going to film here shortly for you guys. And you guys, this is going to be a fun week of fights coming up. So hope you guys enjoy. And John, take us away.
Everyone out there, enjoy what is coming up as the last days of summer. August is almost over. It is almost time for us to hit that fall. A lot of good fights coming up. For everyone out there, do something good for someone. Be kind to someone just because you can, and we will see you.